big news in GTA real estate this week is that TRREB released its December 2025 Market Watch report, outlining how the market performed last month, as well as for the year of 2025. We're going to look at that report today, but we're also not going to forget about the rental market as it is the start of the new year. New rent cap increases have come into effect. We're going to talk about why I don't think that's a very big deal for 2026. 2025 ends with more affordable market and paves the way for year of recovery is how TRREB is framing this Market Watch report. So according to President Daniel Steinfeld, the GTA housing market became more affordable in 2025 as selling prices and mortgage rates trended lower. Improved affordability has set the market up for recovery. And once households are convinced that the economy and labor market are on solid footing, sales will increase as pent-up demand is satisfied. Now, I don't disagree with anything in this statement so far. I'm just having a difficult time accepting that 2026 is the year that the market, that households become comfortable with the economy, with where the labor market is, that we get that consumer confidence back in 2026. For calendar year 2025, GTA Realtors reported 62,433 home sales through TRREB's MLS system. It's down by 11.2% compared to 2024. New listings were up by 10.1% year over year, and the average annual selling price of $1,067,968 was down by 4.7% compared to 2024. Now, Bloomberg put this article out on January 8th saying that rock bottom sales in Canada's housing market make 2025 one of the history books. The number of home sales in Toronto reached a 25-year low in 2025, dropping to around that 62,400 mark. That was up over 127,000 back in 2021. And to find another year where home sales were lower, you have to flip the calendar back to the turn of the millennium, when nearly 61,000 transactions took place in 2000. Now, the real crazy thing about that stat is, yes, you have to go back so far in time to find a year when we had less sales than we had in 2025. But when you consider what population growth has done in the GTA in that time, population has exploded by around 2 million people from 2000 all the way up to 2025. Annual reported sales numbers for the year, I put this chart together ranking them from lowest to highest over the last 20 years. You can see again here, there's 2021, with just shy of 123,000 sales. 2025, though, coming in at about half of that, 63,032 sales reported in 2025. And the slowest 4 years that we have seen in the last 20 years are the last 4 years that we have gone through. When you factor in that population growth, you can also see 2025 is the slowest year that we have ever had, with just 9.71 transactions per 1,000 people happening. It's the first time in the last 20 years that we have dipped below double digits. But again, you can see based on this metric, 2022 through 2025 has been the slowest 4-year stretch and the slowest 4 years that we have seen in the last 20 years. So things have been extremely slow for the past 4 years. And it tells me that we are probably reaching a bottom for GTA real estate, but I don't think it is in terms of prices. I think it's just more so in terms of activity, like how much slower can it truly get across the GTA? If we use the Habistat to look at our year over year changes in transaction volume, you can see that there was a steady increase in transaction volume really through the mid to late 2010s before things really fell off in 2018. We saw this massive spike in April of 2021, mostly as a result of April 2020, the start of COVID being so slow. And then we saw market activity really slow down almost every single month from July of 2021 through April of 2023. But since then, it has grinded downwards, but we're not seeing as much of a market slowdown when it comes to sales activity. I feel like based on this pattern, we're kind of getting closer to that transaction volume bottom. Median prices are another story. You can see the big run-ups that we had leading up to March of 2017 before we saw that correction, the big run-ups that we saw up until January and February of 2022 before we saw our most recent correction and our biggest kind of year-over-year fall off in February of 2023. That stabilized a bit through 2023 and 2024, but I think we're kind of seeing our next down leg in prices. So those two charts tell me I think we're very close to the transaction volume bottom. In order to get transaction volume picking back up again, we need to see prices coming down more. And we've seen prices come down every month, really, year over year since February of 2025. I don't see why that trend doesn't continue going forward. Lastly, for December itself, there were 3,697 home sales reported. That was down 8.9% compared to December of 2024. And when we look at December reported sales from the Toronto MLS, again, a chart that I put together, you can see that December of 2025 was the fourth slowest December, just slightly lagging what we saw in 2012 but ahead of 2023, 2022, 2008. Wahi did a great breakdown. At Greater Toronto Area, real estate hasn't been this buyer friendly in years. Maybe not in terms of prices, and I know that's why we're seeing prices continue to come down, because there is that spread between what buyers are offering and sellers are expecting. December capped off a banner year for buyer-friendly conditions in the Greater Toronto Area housing market, with 98% of neighborhoods with at least 5 home sales seeing prices bid below the asking price. And when looking at all home sales, regardless of neighborhood, in December, there was a noticeable increase in home selling for less than asking. Last month, 82% of homes that changed hands did so for below the list price, and that was compared to 78% in November. This is a massive number when you consider all the overbidding that we were seeing from really, middle of 2020 through early 2022. It's also normal for this time of year to see things being underbid. Usually the sellers that stay on the market through December, through these winter months, are the most motivated, and it's why you kind of see the best deals come to fruition at this time of year. The last few items to touch on from the TRREB Market Watch report are just our year-over-year summary from December. So we saw sales down 8.9%. New listings up 1.8%. Active listings, this is the big one, up 17.5%. Our average prices were down 5.1%. And our listing days on market, whether you're looking at properties or listings, was up about 14% and about 18% December 2025 compared to December 2024. The resale market is only one part of GTA real estate. You also have the rental market to take into effect. And because we are in early 2026, the new rent cap increases have come into effect. This came out back in June of 2025. The headline here is that the Ontario government is protecting tenants by capping rent increases for 2026 at 2.1%. And now it's very noble to try to be protecting tenants in this environment from the government, but I feel like this rental cap increase means very little in 2026. Now there's a segment of people who have been in homes for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, even when rents were lower than where they're currently at right now, that are not living in rent-controlled buildings that will be affected by this slight increase. But the majority of people, especially anybody who's really rented since 2021 and onwards, even if you are in a rent-controlled building and your landlord serves you with a rental increase notice, chances are you're going to find a better deal out there on the market right now. From rentals.ca, you can see that in Toronto, the total average rental is $2,521. This is as of November. So for a one bed, that is $2,222. That's down 6.4% year over year. And for a 2-bedroom home, that is $2,828 per month, down 8.5% year over year. So instead of paying that 2.1% increase, you could be saving, maybe close to 10%, depending on when you rented your place out. There may be inventory in the building or in the neighborhood you are currently living in. Yes, you do have to get up and move, and that is something in and of itself to consider, that there are costs to moving. But if you want to lock in for a lower rate or a lower rental rate, right now may be the opportunity for you, especially when you consider what is going on with inventory. So this is a quick snapshot of the Toronto MLS. This small number up here, 18,982 active listings. Those are all the condo and freehold units available for rent across the GTA, so Durham to York, Halton, Peel, and Toronto. Compare that to the resale market, where there's 17,718 listings. So there's more rental selection out there than resale selection at these early days of the year. If you get served that notice, take a look in your building. There may be a unit that is even cheaper than when you're renting right now, maybe even equal to what you're renting, but a bigger layout. Really make sure to do your due diligence if you are served with that rental increase notice. Bottom line, affordability did improve in 2025 as a result of sale prices coming down, mortgage rates trending a little bit lower as well. Have we seen the end of price decreases? I don't think so. There's still that big gap, price growth, that we skipped really from those 2019 prices to 2021. We saw a massive jump, and we were still trying to fill in that gap on the way down. So I do think there's more room to come down. Sales volume, I don't think can really get much slower than this, but color me shocked and prove me wrong if 2026 sees fewer sale transactions occur in 2025. And lastly, if you are renting right now, you get served with that rental increase of 2.1%. Take a look, do your due diligence. There may be a unit that works even better for you in your building. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking. Is 2026 the year that we see the market start to recover? Do sales go up? Do prices go up? What combination of that happens? What happens with sales and prices? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking with me right through to the end of another video. Till we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers.